Hello, everybody. It is my pleasure and privilege to welcome all of you for today's session. Today, we have got together to discuss a fascinating part of our lives, which is the domain of relationships. All of us human beings, male or female, are social animals, and we enter into and maintain many relationships throughout our lives. As you can see, from the time we are born till we become senior citizens, we enter into many such relationships. During the childhood, we relate to our parents and siblings. Closely bonding with one's own mother is always very special. As we grow and enter school premises, our classmates and friends leave a very deep impression on us, as well as our teachers who mentor us. As we grow into adults and start working in this world, we enter into more relationships at the workplace. As a leader, subordinates look up to you. You are the guiding star for your children at home. And as a member of society, you take part in many social groupings as well. Unless you relate to people at all these places, you will not be able to make a substantial contribution in various roles. Especially important is the relationship you share with your spouse, as that has a big impact on your emotional well-being throughout your life. As you become senior, your family grows larger, with children and even grandchildren. As you can see, life is a continuous movement in relationship. And at the macro level, the society itself can be envisaged as constructed from the many relationships that exist between people like you and me. So if you can improve the quality of relationships, the society and the world itself can change for the better. If you can maintain harmony in all these relationships, you can lead a fulfilling and productive life full of achievement. I would like to share a couple of stories to start with. The first one is about a simple cup of coffee. The husband and wife are on holiday. They are a middle-aged couple, and like any other couple, they have had their ups and downs too. Tired of the long lockdowns during the pandemic, they are looking forward to a nice break at the destination that overlooks a picturesque valley. As they arrive at the destination, the husband, who had been driving for 3 hours, asks for a cup of coffee. "Honey, can I have a coffee, please?" he says, and switches on the television. The wife, though not enthusiastic in her response, gets up and prepares the coffee. And there it is on the table, as you can see, a steaming cup of hot coffee. As soon as the husband tastes the coffee, he says, "The coffee's all right, but I think you have forgotten to add the sugar again." The wife is stung by the remark and responds sharply, "No, I had added sugar. What do you mean by again? Every time I take care to prepare the coffee to suit your taste, but you just don't care. From now on, prepare the coffee instead of watching television." Well, you can imagine the Ramayana and the Mahabharata that followed, where both of them remembered many incidents of their long married life in great detail. When the heat was finally down, the husband remembered that the coffee is growing cold and sipped it again. It was a little sweeter this time. When he managed to check, he found that the sugar was very much added, but they both had forgotten to stir. Whose fault is it? One more episode had been added to their long saga of marriage. An episode that can be quoted by both of them depending on the way they experienced and understood what actually happened. Now, coming to the second story. It is a classic that illustrates how miscommunication can take place due to faulty perception. Two warships were at sea and in heavy weather for many days. When the weather goes bad at sea, the visibility also is poor, and generally it is a difficult time to navigate the ship safely. The captain of the ship, who was responsible for the overall safety of men and material on board, remains in the bridge from where the ship is controlled. Many of you might have seen the movie Titanic, in which they showed beautifully how the highly experienced Captain Edward Smith becomes overconfident and does not heed the weather report that mentions the possibility of icebergs. This leads to the fatal accident that the Titanic met. Please remember the scene when the sentries report sighting of the iceberg to the bridge. Let us imagine a similar situation, that in one of the two ships which are now at sea, captain is in the bridge. Shortly after dark, the sentry reports sighting of a ship. "Right bearing on the starboard bow, captain." "Is it steady or moving astern?" the captain called out. The lookout replied, "Steady, captain." This meant that the two ships were on collision course. This was a dangerous situation. The captain then sent the radio message immediately to the other ship. "We are on collision course. Advise you to change course 20 degrees. The other ship replied, "Advisable for you to change course 20 degrees. The captain, taken aback by the curt replies, sends another message. "I am a captain. Change course 20 degrees. It is normally a custom that the junior ship generally needs to give way at sea. Pat came the reply. "I am a seaman second class. You had better change course 20 degrees. When the captain read this, he was furious. He shouted, "I am a battleship. Change course 20 degrees. Back came the reply, "I am a lighthouse." The captain of the mighty battleship had no option but to change course. This is a stunning story of how the messages are perceived by different people, and the reality is interpreted based on one's own conditioning. In this particular case, if the ship had not changed course, they would have run onto the rock on which the lighthouse is placed, and this would have surely sunk the ship. Let us now analyze the two stories we just heard and see what lessons they hold for us. In both the stories, we observed that there was a situation. There was communication and there was a resulting conflict. In the first instance, the husband came to a hasty conclusion that the sugar had not been added to the coffee. And he also did not choose his words wisely, leading to the wife getting offended. In the second story, the ego of the senior captain came into play. When the lowly seaman second class from the lighthouse advised him, the senior captain, to change course by 20 degrees, his wrong perception of the situation almost led the ship to crash onto the lighthouse. We see that in both the stories, the communication was misunderstood, leading to conflict in relationship. When two people communicate, the person who sends the message is called the messenger, and the one who receives it is called the recipient. for the message to be understood correctly, both of them, the messenger and the recipient, have to understand the language of the message without any doubt. When we say the language, what we actually mean can consist of many things. The words, the tone, the body language, even the personality of the messenger and the recipient come into play, as it is their conditioning which actually allows them to interpret the message that they hear. The trust and mutual respect between the two people provides the foundation for the right understanding. Have you ever thought, for example, with our childhood friends, miscommunication can simply not take place because the foundation of trust is so strong that it is unshakable.